I'm very good today. This sunny, wintry day today.
That's good. It's not that bad out either.
No, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I am like Miss Flowers was saying, I am an expressive arts therapist, which I have been for some time. I got my master's in expressive arts therapy and mental health counseling back in 2012. And I'm also a licensed professional counselor. So I see people individually in my private practice, and I also work at a nonprofit, like a state-funded agency for women who are recovering from addiction.
Okay.
And they live there with their children.
Oh, okay.
So those are two things that I do.
All right. So
Yeah.
when is the best time you should see a therapist?
Well, I think that is different for different people, definitely. So it really depends on the person.
Okay.
So like and the age too, like if we're talking about like children, right? So we could say like when's the best time to take my child to a therapist, right? Or we could start there. So like I would say life transitions, like big life transitions that you're struggling with or you see your children struggling with, that's a good time to take them to a therapist to help them to navigate that, right? Or it might be a good time for your family to seek out therapy just so that you can make sure that you are going through this transition from one phase to another, which, transitions we're talking about like could be like a divorce, or it could be a life transition like it could be so many different things. It doesn't have to be something negative either. It could be transitioning from high school to college or something like that.
True.
It really depends on how the person is dealing with the situation and how much that situation is causing like distress or causing the person not to be able to function like they were doing before. So it's like when something's going on in your life where it's giving you that like hiccup so that you can't really like tend to your work or tend to school or tend to your children or communicate with your spouse or something like that. That's when you should seek out professional help. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you go about finding a therapist you're comfortable with?
So first things first, you got to figure out how to even like, where are they, right? So like, how do I even find somebody to begin with? So like, we got like online resources. Everybody's got a cell phone and you can Google. So you can actually Google a therapist. There's lots of different sites, right? So depending on what you're looking for, I'm listed on Psychology Today. That's a big, like broad one. And you can put filters in there. So you can put in there like, what specific issues, like you want to work with somebody who specifically deals with trauma or anxiety or death and loss, grief, chronic illness or pain, whatever you're going through. So you want to put those filters in there. You want to put the location. You want somebody who's close. You might want telehealth or you want in person. So all those different things you can put, like I want African American, I want a male, you can make it as specific as you want. And whoever comes up and what I do is I give a free consultation for everybody. So everybody might not be for me. I might not be for everybody, and that's fine with me.
That's true.
I give a consultation to get to know them and what they're looking for, and then to let them know what I offer.
Okay. How would you explain expressive arts therapy?
Yeah, a lot of people are like, I got somebody the other day who was like, it's self-explanatory, and I'm like, oh, okay. Most time people don't say that.
Okay.
Like, what is it? But yeah, so I always tell people, like, people are really more familiar with like specifically art therapy because we have there's a lot of like art therapists around here because Albertus Magnus offers that as a degree in Connecticut. So there's a lot of art therapists, or I say music therapists. And I tell people, specifically, maybe they might be familiar with that. But I tell people what I do is I use different modalities as far as art modalities within the therapy session to help the client to meet their goals. So basically that's like the broad idea of it, right? So if somebody comes to me, I do a lot of talk therapy too. So like I'm trained as a mental health counselor, period.
Right.
And so I do psychotherapy, of course, but also like I'm going to use visual arts. I'm going to use, we might do some poetry. So we might start off with the visual and move to the poetry, into how you can interpret this in that kind of way. And then we might go back to movement. So expressive arts is intermodal, right? So that you move from one modality to the next, pertaining on what's going on in the therapeutic setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to put it out there, within the melanated community, that it's kind of frowned upon to go to therapy with some of us. And do you have a way of getting the melanated community to see that there's nothing wrong with therapy, just like there's nothing wrong with going to a regular doctor?
Yeah. I mean, I think for right now, I really have been getting a lot of people who specifically are asking for an African American therapist.
Okay.
Like they are seeking out like what they want, which is great. They're like, no. I found you because you are a Black female, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad there's more of us out there and we're more visible, and that makes people feel more comfortable. As far as, definitely, I think, how do I talk to other people about it? I don't know. There's a lot of hesitancy. I mean, I go back to my own hesitancy, right? So like, and I try to empathize with people, because I think I mean, even when I was going to school for psychology in my undergrad, I didn't utilize the student counseling. I never went to the student like I'm going to school for, I didn't go.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to help people, but it wasn't until I got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, I really need to see somebody. I'm in a jam that I was like, maybe I should, cross that barrier, because I was raised in the church, right? So that's where we sought out our healing and our community and our, you go to your mama, she tells you to pray about it.
Right.
Your grandma tells you to pray about it. And I remember being in college. I might be in a whole different place now had I sought therapy in college. Like I think I really could have benefited, if I did.
Yeah.
And but I think that it's important that people come when they're ready to come.
Yeah.
And sometimes people need to hear it from lots of different places. I think it's important that the clergy support it too.
Yeah. Definitely. I think some of that stigma too, like go pray about it. Go pray. Okay, we did pray. So now what's next?
I was watching a TD Jakes, and I had appreciated it. I was watching a TD Jakes with my father the other week, and he was definitely talking about, what was he saying? I was like, yes. I was like, thank you. He was talking about guilt and shame, and he said that how we carry that, and we need to deal with that, and no amount of he said I don't know if he said you can't dance it away. I don't know what he said, but I was like, thank you so much for addressing this, because some of these things, it's like it's layers of all of this, right? Like you can't even talk to, people are sitting and hurting with this like intergenerational stuff. Like maybe like something happened as far as like in their families, that they're good people and they're living a good life right now, but like they haven't dealt with this, like I had to give up a child. I had to, exit this relationship, like this really like deep stuff that they're carrying, and they feel like a lot of shame about it. And it don't get brought to the forefront, and they don't deal with it. And it's like, it's important. It's important.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It is. Yeah. And I'm glad you touched on that, because it's not really talked about, and that's why I'm doing the podcast on mental health, because it's not really talked about.
Right.
And it's like, oh, you're crazy if you want to go see a therapist. No, if I go to a dentist, I go to an eye doctor.
Right. And you got to think about that. Like, you're not going to go, you go to the dentist. We're told to go to the dentist for our checkups.
Right.
So that we don't get to the point where there's an emergency.
Right.
Same thing with mental health. We need to check in on our mental health. We don't have to go have somebody tell us, well, you better go because now you're on the brink of a breakdown.
Right.
You don't want to wait for that. Right.
That's so true. And I think a lot of times that when people do go, it's that point where I don't have nothing else to do. I can't handle it myself. Nobody can help me. Then they're like, okay, this is my last resort.
Right. It doesn't have to be a last resort. It could definitely be like, let's choose this. I'm choosing wellness, right? So that's why I look at it too. It's like, it's wellness. Like it's instead of like mental illness, I like to look at mental wellness and how do we maintain that on a daily basis.
Right.
And how do you do it intentionally?
True. That's true. I like that, mental wellness. Yeah. Because I think the whole, it's probably a stigma with the word illness.
Absolutely. I think so. Right.
Yeah.
Who wants to carry that, right?
Right.
Illness.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Good.
Yeah. This was great talking to you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on.
Mm-hmm. Anytime, you know it.
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely going to do this again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's needed. We all need it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, I always tell people that I work with, like, what can you add to your life that's going to be, like on a daily basis, like what type of routines are you adding to your life, and so that's really important.
Okay. Give out one example of that.
Yeah. So as simple as, because this is something that I was just telling you about the other day, as simple as a daily facial, cleansing routine.
Okay.
So in that process, I'm taking time out to say that, like, I care about my skincare. I care about myself. Like, I'm deserving of, right, this beautiful, glowing, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that right there is putting your, like, self-esteem in a higher place because I'm taking time with myself. I'm going to do a cleanser. I'm going to do the serum, and I'm going to do my moisturizer.
Right.
In the morning and in the evening. And I'm going to do this every single day. Simple as that. Starting off with a routine. Yep. Just a routine. And that's like the first step that you could do. But that's what you're presenting to the world, right? It's your face. Right. That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
Like I said, thank you so much. And this was fun. And, we always chat it up anyway.
I know. Thank you for having me on and showing me, like, how this world works. I love it.
It's all a learning. I'm learning too.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm learning through the process because this is really this is new to me. So yeah, I'm learning. So the more you use it, the better you get. Yep. So
well, have a wonderful holiday. It's the holiday week this week.
Yeah.
People are busy. I relax and ride the wave through it.
I am too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all babies.
I want to thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon.